Hi, this is Bill. As you know, I'm a Catholic, and thinking about the events of last week, I guess I just almost believe God intervened on my behalf here to make what happened happen. I have a video we'll post about this, but I'm going to wait until my work colleague gives his presentation on Thursday. So, yeah, so he gets all the glory for this. I don't want to one up him and show this beforehand. So, okay, yeah, as I say, I'm going to tell you, this was a total rush. If work was like this every week, I'd never want to retire, but anyway, so we'll start. Okay, the first thing that happened was this retention money. JPL gave us to pursue some projects here. My personal project was measuring the magnetic field from the MLS instrument that I work on, and mainly this was to speed up the processing so we can get a lot of data pushed through quickly, so we can get together a data set. My work colleague, his retention WAM was to actually compare the Ford model that they were using for the EASY project. EASY is Electrojet Zeeman Imaging Explorer, which I talked about in my previous video. And they're all in on this open source software they're using, and so yeah, basically that's what they're using. We have developed our own software. Basically, I did it back 30 years ago, and then my work colleague expanded upon it. We got hired in, I think, around 1999. So anyway, so that was the cool thing. Basically, we decided to do these. Maybe what I should call these, instead of forward models, I should call them signal models. We call them forward models in our work, but the models, yeah. So third was that I was working on this and I made a lot of screw ups, but anyway, the amazing thing was that I did find at the end we were having a geometry problem. Talked about that in the previous video, and then I got this inspiration on Tuesday night after we did the dry run of the presentations to basically, how to fix this. Is say in my model, and then so anyway. So I remember telling you on Wednesday morning, say, so I'll write this down. This was on can't spell. On Wednesday morning. Anyway, so on Tuesday night, I got the inspiration, and I worked like to midnight to get the calculations done. And I said to him, "Yeah, use these." So anyway, now that I was confident, at least I was doing my model right. We figured there was going to be three possible outcomes. Three possible outcomes, because one would be that the signals measured disagree with the open source model. Disagrees with my model. Okay, that was one possible outcome. Second possible outcome was that, and this was kind of the one I expected would happen, signals measured would not equal the open source model. But the open source model would equal my model. Okay, and then the third possible outcome highlighted with red was that signals measured would equal my model, because we actually knew the open source model was not agreeing with the signals measured. My model, which would not equal the open source model. And actually, when you think about the best possible outcome for me personally and for my future with this project would be this one. Signals measured equaled my model, but not the open source model. So, and that's, as I say, I had no control over which of these outcomes would be. I mean, I'm just doing a calculation to the best I know of physics, and which is what these guys are doing too. So, and so is the instrument folks. So anyway, this was the best possible outcome for me having future with this project. And then the fifth amazing thing was that the instrument scientist walks into my colleague's office while the instrument scientist walks into my colleague's office while we're presenting all this, showing him this, and of course he was as happy as a clam, because I think he'd run out of ideas how to basically change the instrument calibration. And yeah, it was at that point when he actually said, "Easy should be funding you," and I said, "Yeah, that would be nice." And so I got a work authorization memo, and I have to say here, really I have to say here, say it up here. Praise be to God. I mean, I don't know. I mean, is it just coincidence that all this happened like this? I don't think so. I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ, and I think God has a purpose for people's lives, and for some reason, I think He wanted me to be a part of this project and help these guys out. Especially the fact that this was the outcome, because as I say, had it been this, it would have, my job pretty much be done. I mean, I would say, okay, there's really nothing more that I'd be needed for and to be involved in the project anymore. They could just run off with the open source model and good. But the fact that this is the case, really changes everything. And of course, this is why they're funding me. They would not have funded me, I'm sure, if this had been in the case. So yeah, as they praise be to God, and as they may God keep you and bless you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, I'll post what the results look like later, but after my colleague gives his presentation. So have a nice evening, and bye-bye.